What's good, YouTube? Nova here.
And Quasar, and
we're the Chronomaly Kings. Alright, for this video, it's gonna be a follow-up of the from the structure deck, or I think it's the structure deck, or it was the last starter deck.
Yeah,
One of
that's
those two.
the structure deck, actually, the new Pendulum Evolution.
Yeah.
Where you got all the new Magician Pendulum support that could actually bring out Zarc. So now we have its actual effect. So we're gonna go over it.
So its name is Supreme King Dragon Zarc. So it's a fusion pendulum monster, scale 1 for its pendulum scales. It's a level 12 dark dragon type pendulum fusion, right? Obviously, attack 4,000, defense 4,000. So already some beefy stats, and for its stats and how easy that pendulum deck is gonna be to pull out this guy for 4,000 attack, it's gonna be quite devastating.
This guy's basically your win condition too. Like, if you drop him, there's like no way you should be losing this duel. So, the pendulum effect, I just fell in love with this card just with his pendulum effect. I didn't even care much for reading the monster effect. I was like, I have to have this card. So, fusion, synchro, and exist monsters your opponent control cannot activate their effects. So, right off the bat, you just basically shut down your opponent's extra deck. So that's really freaking amazing.
Yeah, so
and then
that's all I gotta say.
Well, yeah, the second effect is once per turn when your opponent adds a card or cards from their hand outside the draw phase, to destroy that card.
Yeah, so if your opponent activates like Pot of Desires, they banish 10,
and then they draw 2, and then you just get to destroy them.
Yeah, so basically so that's pretty busted. Because I mean, like, most decks just search, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But, so, like, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's once per turn effect. So I wonder if that means, like, if your opponent activates Desires and you draw 2, you destroy the 2.
You destroy the 2, and then if they wanted to, they could continue to draw searching. Like with Rhoda or whatever.
So, but definitely that effect is still going to put in work, because there's some decks out there, and lots of decks that need just that first search.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt. But the thing that I want to say is destroying card effect kind of can benefit if you look at the, what is it? Which one was it? I don't think it's the True King. Or any deck that needs like one of monster that has an effect that triggers when it's destroyed, whether it be in hand or field. And this is definitely going to be a really, really, really useful card. Like, I mean, of course, you don't want to activate that effect if your opponent's like wrong effect search Grunix. You don't want to really activate this guy's effect,
because that'll end up nuking like all monsters.
But actually, the thing is, like, if he's your only monster, you can destroy it anyway. Because, like, when
if he's on board though, he's unaffected by
card effects.
Your opponent's card effects, basically.
So its monster effect is going to be, obviously, its fusion requirements are 1 dragon type fusion monster, 1 dragon type synchro monster, 1 dragon type exist monster, and 1 dragon type pendulum monster.
So that's already quite a bit, though, as you can see, and it might actually be kind of difficult if you're trying to pull off these requirements. I feel if you do want to just basically use like a polymerization with this, the easiest deck you're probably going to want to do this in is Odd Eyes, because they obviously have fusions, synchros, and exes, and of course Odd Eyes Pendulum is a pendulum.
Yeah.
So you can bust out all of these fairly easy in an Odd Eyes deck, and then you're playing Odd Eyes Fusion, which also meets the requirements. You can just bring this guy out using Odd Eyes Fusion, so that's pretty helpful.
Cool. But of course, after we took a look at the other cards, we know that most of them are treated as fusion, synchro, and exist dragon types. So the requirements are there, and you have Astrograph and Chronograph, which acts as the fusion.
So that makes it a whole lot easier in order to drop this guy.
So anyway, its effect, it must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways.
But of course, Astrograph, Chronograph lets you summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, so that's basically doesn't really matter. If this card is special summoned, destroy all cards your opponent controls.
First, holy shit. Like,
an initial board wipe as soon as you drop this guy. So you're basically free to drop him main phase 1, blow everything up, and then you have a direct 4,000.
Yeah.
At least if you can drop even more monsters though, like.
Yeah, if your opponent cannot stop the summon, it's gonna be 4,000 to their face.
Yeah, they have to negate the summon
which 4,000 to the face is gonna be extremely difficult to come back from, especially if your opponent, let's say your opponent went first and they set let's say they set Mirror Force D Prison and they had like an Xyz monster on board. If you kill that, that's 3 cards your opponent's down. Like, yes, the requirements were pretty hefty, but dropping this guy on with like its next effect, it makes it so it cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects.
So yeah, even the Mirror Force or D Prison wouldn't even work.
Wouldn't work.
Mirror Force would destroy D Prison targets, so
that wouldn't help. But the fact that once you drop this card on board, as soon as your opponent has nothing, 4K
to the face.
The outs are just not there. Mm-hmm. Like, the only card you can use, like, I feel that's going to be really good with this card is going to be banishing with, banishing it, really.
Yeah,
like, banishing it, I think, is going to be the only way to get rid of it. Or sending it to the graveyard, but it can't be targeted.
Even if you do somehow beat over this, let's say you drop Utopia the Lightning, make it 5,000, which will obviously get over it. If this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle or card effect, place this card in your pendulum zone. So right there, it just immediately goes to the pendulum zone, and then, you know, your lightning is now negated because it negates your Xyz.
And another effect is if this card destroys a monster by battle, so if your opponent's setting desperately, and you can use this guy to attack through something, you get to special summon 1 Supreme King Servant Dragon monster from your main deck
or extra deck.
So I'm thinking that it's going to be face up on your extra deck.
Yeah,
and
probably.
It probably needs that, like, requirement. And main deck is okay. But, like, because it states this, we're going to check it out.
So you have, of course, the Supreme King Servant Dragon Dark Vroom. They'll probably change the name, but
yeah,
nonetheless, it's a level 4 Dark Dragon type Pendulum effect monster. 1,800 attack, 1,200 defense. So fairly decent for a level 4 overall.
Now this Pendulum effect is actually kind of scary, because its Pendulum effect is once per turn. If you control no monsters, you can place 1 Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your deck into your pendulum zone. You cannot pendulum summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for dark monsters, which is going to be kind of easy.
Yeah, if your deck revolves around dark monsters, which obviously the new Pendulum Evolution deck revolves around, and then all of these monsters are dark as well. So you can blend this deck. You can make like maybe a pure Supreme King deck if you want, or you can just stick with the Magicians. I mean, either way, you're going to have a solid deck that could bring out Zarc fairly easily.
Yeah. Now, something else I want to mention. If you did make Zarc and he did somehow die in the Pendulum Zone,
he just goes on top of the extra deck.
He does. This card, you activate this card in your scale, and you can search Supreme King Gate Infinity. Now, this guy is a level 7 Dark Fiend type Pendulum effect monster. So he's a level 7 Dark, which fits in with this. And he's a level 7, so he fits in with Odd Eyes. So, perfectly. Like, it's coming together. You're seeing how that works.
And the thing that's really fucked, though, is it's a Pendulum Scale 13.
So you can just drop this guy. And then, you can basically, what happens is you make Zarc. Zarc dies. You get this card. You get to special summon it, but that doesn't matter because, like,
you want this guy in scale while you control no one. Like, if you open this guy, set him in your scale, he immediately will net you Infinity. Which is a Pendulum 13. So between 5 and 13, you have a whole ton of shit you can Pendulum summon.
But another thing is when this card is normal summon or special summon, you can add one Supreme King Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. And then if this card is in your graveyard and you control monsters, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. Now that effect is not a friggin' once per turn effect, so I can see this card alone for that last effect is gonna be crazy in a couple of different decks.
Yeah,
because
sure.
adding the Supreme King Gate is nice. Don't get me wrong, it's nice. A scale 13, any pendulum deck.
And that's also not once per turn either. So essentially, whenever it's summoned, add whatever. Let's say you use it as like Xyz material, detach it to put it in the graveyard.
And then somehow you destroy the Xyz monster. So let's say you make this. Is Diamond Dire?
You can do something, like Diamond Dire Wolf for sure.
You can go Diamond Dire, pop Diamond Dire, send it to the graveyard. This card goes to grave. It recognizes you control monsters. You get to special summon
it, and then add another. So you just keep.
You can literally add this one, and then right after add 0.
Yeah, and then you have a scale 0 and a scale 13.
So you can pendulum summon from 1 to 12.
Literally pendulum summon any monster in the game.
Now, yeah, okay. So Supreme King Gate Infinity. His pendulum effect is interesting. Is if you control a monster, you cannot pendulum summon. So obviously you don't want to do that. But then his other effect is this effect cannot be negated. And his other effect in the pendulum scale is going to be once per turn. If you can control a Supreme King Zarc, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls, gain life points equal to its current attack.
So that's pretty nice. Obviously, use that before you attack with Zarc.
Obviously. So I mean, the pendulum effect with if your opponent controls a monster is kind of hurtful. But if you control a monster, it's kind of hurtful because especially if you're playing in a deck, if you're playing this, I think if you're playing this, you're gonna want to try to make it so you can. I'm not really sure how this card's gonna be good, to be honest.
Just the fact that it is a 13, if you do have nothing, if somehow your Zarc ends up on top of your extra deck and you want to bring it back, it's a scale 13.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing though, I think this card will be if you're gonna play it this way, this card will be a 3 of, and this card maybe a 1 of. But I wouldn't play this card, maybe 2, but I wouldn't go too heavy on that. Its monster effect though is once per turn you can target one other face-up card you control, destroy both this card and that, and if you do, special summon one dragon type Xyz monster or dragon pendulum monster
from your extra deck. So that's pretty sweet.
But its attack and defense becomes 0. Its effects are negated. Also, cannot be used for Xyz or Synchro. If this card is destroyed by ball or card effect, you can place it in your pendulum zone. So if you pendulum summon, or if you summon this card somehow, you pendulum summon it, it dies. You just get to play it sit right in the scale. So that's kind of sweet. Now Supreme King Gate 0. He's obviously
he's again level 7 Dark Fiend, 0 attack, 0 defense, but it's a scale 0. So again, lets you basically pendulum summon even like a level 1. So let's read the pendulum effects. If you control Supreme King Dragon Zarc, you take no damage. Wow. So you literally
Utopia. You're out of Utopia the Lightning. Attacks for 0, and then
Zarc would go into the pendulum scale. Yeah,
so,
and then
scale. Yeah.
You negate Utopia again. So that is pretty freaking amazing. If your opponent's playing Burn, then they don't have any way to lose. Literally, they won't be able to beat you down. They'll have to reveal Exodia in hand in order to beat you or something.
Yeah. Okay, so the once per turn effect is going to be if there's a Supreme King Gate Infinity in your other pendulum zone, you can destroy 2 cards in your pendulum zones, so themselves, obviously. And if you do, add 1 polymerization spell card or fusion spell card from your deck to the hand, except for the fusion wave motion.
Okay, so that one's kind of lackluster. I mean,
yeah.
If you'd already pendulum summoned, okay, and then you can just pop them. You can add either whatever, regular polymerization, odd eyes fusion, that sort of thing. And then you can use it however you want, but
yeah, the whole add the polymerization. If it add odd eyes, well, I guess okay.
Well, it can technically
add odd eyes fusion, but technically there's a lot of better cards like Sky Iris can add fucking can add it. So, its monster effect is once per turn you can target one other face-up monster you control, destroy both this card and that card. And if you do special one, Dragon type fusion or Dragon type synchro monster from your extra deck, but its attack and defense becomes 0 and its effects are negated. Okay, I get where this is going.
Fairly similar. It kind of nets you your materials in order to get to Zarc. So that's not too bad. But I think the only beneficial thing is the fact that it's a scale 0.
To be honest, after looking at the Supreme Kings and like their Supreme Servant, honestly, looking at these 3 cards, I'm kind of not thinking like. I'm thinking it's probably better off just to make this card with your magicians.
Yeah, I agree.
And then just lose out on special summoning the Supreme King's Servant monster. I mean, as good as this card is, like, if you control no monsters, place 1 Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your deck. That's fucking amazing. But like I said, if you're gonna do it, I'd probably play like just 3 copies of this and like one copy of that, if anything, and then obviously play your fusions or play your regular pendulum deck. But that's about it. I mean, just losing this one effect isn't a big deal.
Yeah, you don't even really need that,
because if you drop this on board, it's gonna be fucking hard to get over on board. And then if you place in your pendulum zone, taking away your opponent's fusion, sync, or annex these is pretty much taking away their entire game.
And taking away a search, too.
A search is what are you going to do?
Plus, also, when you do drop this guy, he's so difficult to get over, it's probably going to make your opponent scoop anyways.
Yeah.
If you have this guy on board, it's almost always GG.
Yeah. And, even if you're, the only out I can see to this is something like banishing it without targeting. So, fire your... Okay, so obviously your True King, the Vanisher, doesn't target.
Yeah.
And also banishes. So it can out that but that is literally, I think, the only card that can out that now.
You'd want to obviously negate the summon. That's basically it.
Yeah, so negating the summon. And then the only out is Utopia Lightning. And even if you let Utopia destroy it...
Okay, so even if you do negate it, though, it goes to the Pendulum Zone.
Yeah.
Because Solemn Strike is a card effect that would destroy it, so it still ends up in the Pendulum Zone. So yeah, you wouldn't have to face the 4,000, and all your cards wouldn't be destroyed. But then you still have to figure out a way around its Pendulum effect, right?
And if your opponent drops this first turn, sure, you don't get to destroy all your opponent's cards, but like I said, Utopia the Lightning. One of only 2 outs.
Yeah, pretty much.
2 outs, and True King Vanisher can't be played in just every deck.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, once this set comes out, the True Kings, they got their own field spell that destroys and searches. That is going to be very nice. But the only thing with that is, the only thing I feel like once you get those, the True King, only really Fire Kings, when you destroy it in hand, you get the effect, and then of course you get to add the True King to hand. I really feel like that's going to be the only benefiting out to beat this deck, or to beat this guy anyway. But as far as that goes, that deck's not going to be that crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as the Zarc stuff goes, I'm going to say Zarc's probably the best, and probably the Magicians are the best to use it with.
Yeah, I agree.
Even if you want to use Supreme King, you can.
But it's probably not even, necessary.
Not necessary.
Yeah.
I mean, the gates and stuff is kind of lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff could come out, we could get a spell card that's activate this card, place fucking Infinity and Gate into your Pendulum Scales, and then you could Pendulum Summon using monsters in your extra deck. And then you could Pendulum Summon Zarc, but, other than that, I wouldn't play them.
Yeah.
Maybe, Infinity's okay, but they really needed a little bit more monster effects to try to get this card on board a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Understand special summoning 1 Synchro Dragon or Pendulum Monster is okay, but I'd much rather just make
the fact that they're also level 7 and they do have synergy with Odd Eyes is helpful, yes, but definitely not,
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So leave in the comment section below if you guys are going to make it using the Supreme King stuff or just the Magician decks. in general, or are you guys even gonna bother adding Zarc to your deck? I know that deck can do a lot of stuff, but I feel like, you can banish them from graveyard as well. So all you need to do is literally play an Astrograph or a Chronograph, and you can make this. So I think that it's a staple in that deck as well. So definitely, I would think he's gonna be.
Yeah,
I
so
think he'll still
expect
be
to
used.
see this card in a lot of different decks. Like after that new Pendulum Evolution deck comes out, probably going to be seeing a lot of this guy and probably going to find some crazy ways to drop this guy first turn. So
Yeah. So leave in the comment section below what you guys think.
remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time.
Your move, your move, your move, your move.